Okie dokie, let's get started, shall we? So this will be the last one, as long as I get through it, which being able to research whilst also playing means that I probably will be able to get through it alright. Now this is clearly sort of the big one. So, as it says, as your influence grows, you endeavour to transform Florence into a haven for artists, architects, and designers. Your dream to officially rule over Florence is within reach. However, tensions in Florence grow with calls to reform the church beginning to take hold. You must use all your resources and political influence to accomplish your goals and solidify your place in history. So the objective is establish the Accademia dell'Arte del Disegno, Academy of Arts of Design, and the way to do that is strengthen your influence in the community of artists and patrons. And a bonus level objective is gain ducal title to Florence and rise to the status of nobility. So I'm fairly sure a ducal title is like becoming a duke, so maybe it's a ducal title, I don't know. So hint, leverage religious and military circumstances, conditions, and events to rise in status and power. Now that's the big one that's going to require a bit of history knowledge, so there may be a bit more research this time. The young King Charles has gained his inheritance from his grandfather, the Holy Roman Emperor Maximilian I, gaining vast amounts of control and influence across Europe. He has just inherited rule over the Netherlands, Aragon, Castile, and several other territories of the Holy Roman Empire. So King Charles, good person to get to know. King Charles, I believe, was the... oh no, so he's got his own faction. Because Holy Roman Empire, yeah. That was sort of a German thing. I wouldn't have thought of Charles as a German name, but oh. So those are the reputations. Let's look at the map. So yeah, we have Isabella d'Este, Marchesa of Mantua, wife of Francesco II Gonzaga, and mother of Federico II Gonzaga. Then Michelangelo Buonarroti, a local sculptor. Okay. Siena, a city-state near Florence, at war with Florence. Rome, home of the Pope and seat of Catholicism. Charles, Duke of Burgundy, elected to succeed his grandfather as Holy Roman Emperor. France, often at... yes, I'm still there. France, often at war with neighbouring powers. France is always looking to conquer new territories and expand its borders. But France doesn't like Charles or Rome, so that's good to know. Okay, let's get to it. Well, our soul is 94% and our reputation is 100%, so we've got it pretty good to start off with. Actually, how many turns have we got? 24 turns. Okie dokie. Giovanni Pico della Mirandola recommends Girolamo Savonarola as a learned and pious scholar for the convent of San Marco. Pico's work is controversial within the church. Will you heed Pico's advice on hiring the charismatic theologian to his post? I will. I may lose out on this one, but I will. If Pico recommends Savonarola, the preacher must be a sensitive and intelligent man. Savonarola's spiritual counsel should provide a great boon to the Medici, even though his anti-humanistic sermons are troubling. Cardinal Rodrigo Borgia offers a Medici cardinal 500 florins to support Borgia's bid to become pope. Will you accept this bribe? No. I mean, the Borgias were pretty big, but nah. Not going to do that. Michelangelo Buonarroti, a young artist apprenticed to Domenico Ghirlandaio, has been brought to your attention. Michelangelo shows great promise but lacks formal training. Will you move the artist into the Palazzo Medici to be educated alongside your children? Yes, because I think this is the famous Michelangelo. With access to your children's tutors, Michelangelo studies science and writes poetry. Good. Marchese Francesco II Gonzago of Mantua has been captured and imprisoned by Venice. Francesco II's heir is too young. His mother, Marchesa Isabella d'Este, becomes regent, taking control of the throne of Mantua. Michelangelo's detailed bas relief of the Madonna demonstrates the delicacy of his technique. For 700 florins, will you choose which of these images represents? Yes. So, the delicacy of his technique. I mean, that looks more like a Roman one. That looks more delicate. And there's that. If I'm thinking of the Michelangelo, he tended to be pretty accurate with his stuff. Now this takes some liberties, as does that, as to what reality looks like. Therefore this one, I would say, is the correct one. And there's a lot of delicacy. Dang! Nabbit! Seek out Michelangelo's naturalistic treatment of faces. I should have checked. Sending a son to the priesthood is traditional, and many may grant the Medici a voice in the church. However, your youngest son is more interested in banking. Will you guide Giovanni de Lorenzi de Medici into banking instead of the priesthood? No, I believe he goes on to become pope. Yeah, that's what I thought. Savonarola preaches against corrupt priests and tyrants. He predicts that a new Cyrus will come over the mountains to sweep Italy of sin. Do you endorse his message of reform? No. Yes. Savonarola cheers the invading army and sends emissaries to Charles V. He proclaims that Florence will become a new Rome ruled by Christ and calls for the building of a new Ark of Noah. He sounds insane. Charles V's army is marching through Tuscany towards Florence. Savonarola rejoices. His prophecy is coming true. Will you join Savonarola's faithful? Yes. That's annoying. Marchesa Isabella d'Este is hosting a congress in Mantua to rally a defence against the French invasion of Milan. Will you send a Medici representative to promote your interests? Yes. Botticelli has fallen under the influence of the charismatic theologian Savonarola and has abandoned his painting. He may have even burned some of his works. Will you join Botticelli? No, we've already been told we don't, so yeah. Pope has asked to withdraw 1,000 florins from his discretionary account. Will you send him the money? Yes. How much money do we have in there? Need to be careful then. Michelangelo has made a wooden model proposing a design for the facade of San Lorenzo, your family church. However, he has little experience in architecture. Instead of working with Michelangelo, will you seek a more experienced artist to take on the task? I'm going to say no. Michelangelo accepts and departs for 2 years to Carrara to salute. Okay. Savonarola's disciples attack the immodest and the drunk in the streets. Pope Alexander VI condemns the violence and demands that Savonarola surrender himself to Rome. Will you side with Savonarola? No. Charles V sends imperial troops across the Alps. Will you support Florence joining the principalities of Mantua and Ferrara, who quietly support the I don't know. Pope has asked, yes, you can take your money, but now I don't. I only have 1,200. A student of Verrocchio has portrayed the dead Christ for the nuns of Santa Chiara using oil on panel. The nuns have been offered 3 times the sum originally paid. Do you support the work's sale? Yes. That's fine. Charles V sends imperial troops across the Alps. Will you support Florence joining the principalities of Mantua? Now that we have a bit more money, yes, it's fine. Yeah. Following the invasion by Charles' forces, Venice and Florence are in disarray, destruction and chaos reign. On the deaths of Pope Alexander, his successor ascends to Pope Julius. Declared a heretical schismatic, Savonarola is imprisoned and tortured. He recants his prophecies and is hanged and burned before the Signora. Savonarola's ashes are scattered in the Arno River, leaving no relic for his followers to venerate. Oof, that's a rough one. Really no trading happening, is there? Savonarola's fellow priests challenge him to prove his claims with trial by fire. He will walk through the flames to show that he is the Lord's true prophet. Will you endorse the use of the Piazza del Signoria? No. Good. There is no suitable road from the superior marble quarries of Carrara to carry the stone. Will you spend 500 florins? Maybe. You have plans to redesign the gardens behind. Will you draw? No. No, I won't. Yes. We need money. Duke of Milan. Will you support her expensive and daring decision? After Savonarola's downfall, but Shelley, who supported, is destitute. Do you wish to? No, I don't. Rather than sell. Do you fall in demand for a Medici linen shop is sat dormant for months rather than sell? Will you pay? No, I won't pay to keep it going. Which means I now have 1,500, which is nice. I will support her decision to accept refugees. Yeah. Pope Julius II has died. Giovanni de' Medici ascends to Pope and takes the name. The esteem and honour of attaining the papacy establishes your family as prestigious and pious, which is good. Yes, it's good. And now we have money. Good. Martin Luther, a young German priest, challenges the authority of the Pope and the Church with a call for reform. He openly admires the executed. Will you join the Pope in condemning him? Yes. Pope's my own family now. You've been considering whether to add adornments and flourishes to the exterior Palazzo Medici to augment Michelozzo's rather austere and rustic design. For 800 florins, will you commission artists and workmen to renovate the exterior? Yes. Yeah, fine. A competing family offers you 500 florins for one of your cloth mills. Selling the mill would increase the power of your rivals, but the price is quite fair. Will you sell? No. I have money, so I won't sell. For the Medici family tombs, like, general idea, if you have enough money and you have assets, hold on to your assets, especially if the assets aren't losing you money. For the Medici family, tombs in the new sacristy of San Lorenzo, Michelangelo sculpts idealized figures of your ancestors. For 625 florins, will you choose Michelangelo's portrayal of Lorenzo di Piero, flanked by allegorical figures? Yes. So, we're looking for sculptures, definitely. So, there's no sculptures of people there. No sculptures of people there. So it has to be this one because we've got those sculptures there. So it has to be that, yeah. Martin Luther has ignited a schism in the church. Do you support Pope Leo X's condemnation of Martin Luther's heretical teachings? Yes. Pope Leo X of Medici drafts a papal bull that demands all Christians accept the Pope's power to grant indulgences. Martin Luther refuses and maintains his stance for reforms. Will you stand with the Pope? Yes, I will. The Pope's sale of indulgences has provoked a German priest, Martin Luther, to launch a series of complaints against the Church. He posts his 95 Theses on the door of All Saints Church in Wittenberg. He writes that Leo X redeems innumerable souls for money, a most perishable thing, to build St. Peter's Church, a very minor purpose. The Church has always been corrupt. Pope Leo starts a campaign to reconstruct the old St. Peter's Basilica into a mighty symbol of Church's wealth, power, and glory. Will you donate 200 florins to transform the Vatican? Yes. 10,000 years off purgatory, which, yeah, sure, a pope can grant. The work on St. Peter's Basilica has been stalled. More funds are needed to complete the grandest architectural expression of the Christian faith. Do you advise Pope Leo to sell indulgences, granting time off purgatory in exchange for funds? No. No. Forgoing the... Yeah, okay, I thought he would do that. Pope Leo X seeks your counsel on the growing dissension towards the Church. Should the Pope directly and openly condemn Martin Luther? Yes. Yes, he should. Pope Leo X has died. That's annoying. He's known. So the new one, he's known for his asceticism and been tutor of the young Charles V. While he condemns the heretic Martin Luther, he agrees with reform. Michelangelo has been studying anatomy by dissecting cadavers of criminals at the church hospital. Will you choose which image represents the fruit of his study? Yes. I don't know. Okay, we're going to need to do the research for this one. So we're looking for Michelangelo San Spirito. Oh, Santo Spirito. Right, so Santo Spirito. Okay, so yeah, it's the standard crucifix option. Okie dokie, that's good to know. Yeah, so it is this one. Yeah. 2 Medici galleys sit empty in the port of Genoa. Spanish company offers 750 florins for both ships. Do you accept? Yes, because we need money. The League of Cognac and an alliance of France, England, Venice, Milan, and the Vatican seek to oppose and fight against Holy Roman Emperor Charles V and the powerful House of Habsburg. Will you join the alliance? Yes. Because it said a while ago you should stand against the Holy Roman Empire, so we'll do. The Wool Guild wants an enormous block of unused marble to be carved by capable hands into an addition to the Duomo. 2 artists have already abandoned the block as too soft. Should Michelangelo likewise avoid wasting time? No, he shouldn't avoid wasting time. Michelangelo examines the marble. He notes its weaknesses, but also its inner beauty, and begins to imagine the sculpture beneath the surface. Good. For a sculpture trio in the new sacristy of San Lorenzo, Michelangelo agrees to produce one work, leaving the other 2 to his assistants. Will you choose which of these works is Michelangelo's contribution? Yes. So a sculpture trio. So it has to be sculpture. Not sculpture. Sculpture. And not really sculpture. I would say that's more Michelangelo's style than that is. So we'll go with that one. There we are. Though his assistant's representations of St. Cosmas and Damien are impressive, you recognise Michelangelo's genius in the portrayal of the Virgin and the Child. Good. Pope Adrian VI reigns in the excesses of the Church, calling for a reform of indulgences and a healing of the wounds in the Church caused by Martin Luther's schism. Will you aid the cause by forgiving the Church's debt of 500 florins? Yes. Soul of 100, reputation of 100. We clearly are doing the right thing, hopefully. You wish to ask Pope Adrian to annul your niece's marriage, which has failed to reproduce an heir. Pope Leo X expected 500 florins. Will you offer Adrian money? No, because he's clearly not wanting to deal in money. And he would have been angered, yeah. Pope Adrian VI is alarmed that Michelangelo is accumulating stalled unfinished projects. He has all but forsaken the tomb of Julius II, who was a kind patron to the artist. As Michelangelo's major patron, will you dock him 250 florins for his negligence? Yes. Okay. Charles V is to inherit Milan, but France, your ally in the League of Cognac, has seized and annexed the city. Will you commit forces and funds to defend Milan? Yes. Pope Adrian VI has died and his reign is cut short. The College of Cardinals chooses your relative, Cardinal Guillo Medici, who takes the name Pope Clement VII. The esteem and honour of regaining the papacy re-establishes your family as prestigious and pious. Good, and we get money, which is good. The Republic of Florence has commissioned a statue of David as a warning to the Medici to show that you are undaunted by their threat and a patron of great task. Will you acknowledge Michelangelo's finished sculpture? Yes. Michelangelo's David. This is the classic. Yeah. Emiliano, the grandchild of Davizi, asks for a loan of 3,000 florins to be returned with interest. Will you accept? No. You're smart to avoid usury. Yeah. Pope Clement VII, the Medici, wishes to make the family collection of books and manuscripts available to the public. Will you support his commission from Michelangelo for an appropriate space? Yes. Once finished, the Grand Laurentian Library will be the first public library in Europe. Your glory grows. Good. Francesco's II Gonzaga, Marchese of Mantua, is returned from Venetian prison, retaking the throne from his wife. Marchesa Isabella d'Este travels extensively and lives apart from her husband. Her son Federico becomes the standard bearer and captain general of the church. 100%, good. Michelangelo's Pieta has been attributed to another artist. He wants to sneak into St. Peter's Basilica at night and inscribe the sculpture with his name. Will you intervene? Yes. Yeah, he might get annoyed, but I don't care. Will you choose which sketch by Leonardo da Vinci depicts Marchesa Isabella d'Este in profile? Yes. My guess would be this, but I think research is in order. So we're looking at Leonardo Marchesa Isabella d'Este. Oh, okay. So that's the one then. So I was wrong. Shocker. I have no knowledge in this area and I was wrong. So that's this one. There we are. The imperial troops of Charles V are waiting to be paid. They are starving and restless. Will you pay the troops occupying Rome? No. Pope Clement applauds your allegiance to the Romans and the Church, but the starving imperial troops conspire to pillage Rome for food and riches. Yeah. Starving and without orders, the army of the Holy Roman Emperor sack and plunder Rome. Thousands of Romans perish, are left destitute, or flee the city. Yikes. To resist the march of the Holy Roman Emperor on Rome, a new alliance is proposed. The French King Francis I, the Sforza family of Milan, the Doge of Venice, and Pope Clement VII sign a pact against Charles V should Florence join the alliance. Yes. Along with Venice, Florence joins the League of Cognac against the Holy Roman Empire. You have strengthened your alliances against the invaders from the north. Michelangelo's David is too fragile to lift to the roof of the Duomo. Will you contribute 400 florins to install it in the Piazza della Signoria? Yes. Okay. Several outspoken Florentines have begun spreading the rumour that you are not as pious as your peer. In order to prove them wrong, will you donate 1,000 florins to the orphanage Ospedale degli Innocenti? Yes. In your study, you have a jeweled goblet encrusted with rubies and pearls and topped with a large diamond. The style is quite out of fashion. A local merchant admires the gems and offers you 600 florins, which is the value of the jewels and the gold. Will you sell? Yes. How many turns? Okay. The invading mercenaries of Charles V are sacking Rome, looting priceless relics and treasures, burning shrines, and murdering in the streets. Will the Medici open their homes and palaces to the refugees? Yes. You commission Baccio Bandinelli for a sculpture symbolizing the subjugation of the Florentine Republic by the Medici to stand opposite Michelangelo's David for 550 florins. Will you choose the resulting work? So, a sculpture symbolizing the subjugation of the Florentine Republic by the Medici. Sure. So it's not this one. It could be that one. it does suggest subjugation. I don't think it's that one. But research is probably in order. I don't want to stuff it up now. So we're looking at Basio, Bandinelli, sculpture. Whoops. Yep, so yeah, it was the one I thought it would be. That one there. Okie dokie. I mean, it makes sense. That one's got subjugation happening, so yeah. Holy Roman Emperor Charles V asked to wed his daughter into the Medici clan. Do you accept this marriage and the alliance that it represents? No. I have heard that Giorgio Vasari hopes to establish a Florentine centre for the arts of design. As you know, disegno is the common parent of all the visual arts, unifying the artist's creativity and intellect. I recommend that you forge connections with a community of artists weakened by the recent wars. So that's working primarily with Michelangelo, I think. You've been invited to attend a meeting of the Company of St. Luke, a religious confraternity of painters who have gathered since 1349. They celebrate the importance of disegno as the primary element in the painter's art. Will you attend the meeting? Yes. Yeah? Nice. You inherit a gold reliquary that was purchased by Piero de Cosimo. Originally it had been given to Charles V by Charles V to his brother Louis. A collector of relics from Passion offers you 1450 florins, which you may need to pay debts. Will you sell? Yes. Yeah. Marchesa Isabella d'Este chooses to leave Mantua for Rome, despite the terror of the sack of Rome at the hands of the Holy Roman Emperor Charles V's army. Should she open her home in Rome to house refugees? Yes, she should. Forming the Florentine Accademia dell'Arte del Disegno will be a costly endeavour. Make sure you have the funds to afford the undertaking. Perhaps you should sell off warehouse goods to fill the Medici treasury. I don't really have any warehouse goods. The Wood and Stoneworkers Guild controls the practice of the sculptural arts in Florence. Will you invite this ancient guild to participate in your plan to form a new academy? Yes. Medici detractors living in exile have accused you of exploiting the citizens of Florence and bringing forth no less than 2 illegitimate children in an attempt to gain favour with Spotlight. Will you sponsor a great feast? No, I have a lot of reputation and a lot of soul. I can afford to not. Nice. Filippo Strozzi is branded a rebel and flees to Venice as the land holdings are seized. Will you sell the Strozzi palace and land to a friend of the Strozzi for 1500 florins? Yes. Getting there. Due to a fall in demand for Florentine linen, a Medici linen shop has sat dormant for months. Rather than sell, will you pay the taxes? No. You've been considering whether to add ornaments and flourishes to the exterior. No. A competing family offers you 500 florins for one of your cloth mills. Selling the mill would increase the power of your rivals, but the price is quite fair. Will you sell? No. Selling a mill is different to keeping a mill that's losing money. Yeah. Sweet. 2 Medici galleys sit empty. A Spanish company offers you florins. Yes, that's fine. Several artists such as Michelangelo and Torrigiano have joined an informal artist circle. They meet in the Medici garden with the sculptor Bertoldo di Giovanni for 300 florins. Will you sponsor these artists' efforts to further their education in philosophy and theory? Yes. Several outspoken Florentines have begun spreading the rumour that you are not as pious as you appear. In order to prove them wrong, will you donate? No, we're not going to do it this time because we can afford the loss. Following the death of Pope Clement VII, the College of Cardinals elect Alessandro Farnese, who takes the name Pope Paul III. So, yeah. After 10 days of brutal fighting, Florence surrenders to the Holy Roman Emperor. Pope Clement VII is eager to sign a peace agreement with Charles V, with hopes that the Emperor will also deal with the Lutheran Reformists in Germany. Will you support the agreement? Yes. Good. In your study you have a jewel encrusted, oh, that thing again, yes, I'll sell it. The company of St. Luke has gathered to mourn the passing of the painter Jacopo Ponteormo. Many artists, including Michelangelo and Vasari, are attending. Will you also attend? Yes. And that boosts relationship with that. You inherited a gold reliquary. Will you sell? Yes. Word is spread of the death of French King Francis I. His son, now King Henry II, declares war on the Holy Roman Emperor in an attempt to claim Italy for France. After the surrender of Florence and the peace treaty ending the war with the Holy Roman Empire, Emperor Charles V grants you the Duchy of Florence. Your control over the city is strengthened as the Florentine Republic conclusively ends. Giorgio Vasari and the Company of St. Luke hope to secure a patron to form the Accademia dell'Arte del Disegno for 7,500 florins. Will you patronize the Academy? Yes. Yeah. The Lutheran Schmalkaldic League has begun to confiscate German church lands and expel Catholic princes. Holy Roman Emperor Charles V is looking to borrow 850 florins to help him purge these heretics. Will you grant him this loan? No, we don't have enough money. Michelangelo's tomb of Pope Julius II remains unfinished decades after Julius's death. Of the 10 sculptures originally planned, only the Moses is complete. Will you select the finished sculpture? So, it's not going to be that one. Could be that one. Or could be that one, though I'm guessing it's more likely that it's going to be that one. But we will do the research. Michelangelo, Moses. Yeah, so it's the one I thought it was. That one. Sweet. That's good. Yeah. Charles V's military is weakened by the new war with King Henry II of France and continuing Protestant revolts. The Protestant resistance defeats the Emperor's armies in Germany. As a result, Charles V abdicates the imperial throne to his brother Ferdinand I and retires to a monastery. How many turns? So this is the last turn. Was our goal? Establish the Accademia dell'Arte del Disegno. Cement your place in history, so we've done that already, which is good. The Council of Trent begins deliberating the appropriate response to the Protestant Reformation. Will you call in favours to ensure the Medici have a seat? Yes. Pope Paul III is receiving Emperor Charles V in Rome. In preparation, Michelangelo wants to redesign the Capitoline Hill Plaza as a large semicircle facing the Vatican for 500 florins. Will you help sponsor redesigning? No. Just because of money. Might annoy him, but money. Eleonora de Toledo, daughter of the Viceroy of Naples, is married to Cosimo I de' Medici, Grand Duke of Tuscany. Will you choose Agnolo Bronzino's portrait of Eleonora de Toledo, showing the importance of marriage to securing political and economic alliances? Yes. Research. Yeah, that's once you move away from the more famous painters, I'm at a little bit of a loss. So, Agnolo Bronzino, Eleonora de Toledo. Yeah. So it's this one. Yeah. This one. Which, yeah, I had no idea either way, so yeah. Yeah. Like, I was gonna go for that one, but yeah. I mean, this is a portrait, but that one maybe suggests marriage more, but yeah, we'll go with that. Taking over the Duchy of Florence, you find the government filled with functionaries appointed under the Florentine Republic. Will you eliminate these representatives of Florence's other eminent families to save Florence and consolidate your power? Yes. Yay! You supported Michelangelo's growth from a novice to a master artist and established Florence as Italy's centre of art and culture. Your work establishing the Accademia dell'Arte del Disegno has immortalized your name in history as a great patron of the arts. You have also achieved the lofty position of leader of Florence, bringing prestige to the Medici name. Well done, your business here is finished. So, that's the end of this game. It was interesting because so once I started doing the research, then I started learning this stuff while playing the game. So it would be nice if within the game itself there was some way to get that research. I will admit, if I were playing this by myself, I probably wouldn't do the research and I'd just play it over and over again until I figured it out. Which that also would be a way of learning. So, as an educational game, it's not bad. However, this would have to be supported with teaching, I would think, if you wanted it to be a efficiency improving kind of thing. Anyhow, we will leave it at that. Tomorrow, I'm thinking I'll do some drawing. I've got a few ideas for it, so yeah. Anyhow, have a good day and don't work too hard.